My name is Janice Finkelman, and today I'm going to be talking about working with the reverse grip bench press. I've been powerlifting for 7 years, and I've done a lot of competition. Bench isn't one of my strong suits. I have a really large wingspan, so I've had to work really hard to do what I've been able to do with it. But I'm excited to talk about reverse grip today, and let's go ahead and do that. So what is the reverse grip bench press? Basically, what you need to know about it is it's going to be movement that is like a regular bench press, but you're going to be working with a supinated grip, aka your palms are going to be facing you. Something to think about when you are working with the bench reverse grip is going to be the bar that you're using. Hopefully you have access to a bar that has nice, really aggressive knurling. I find that helps me out a lot. I look for that. If I go into a gym and I have a lot of bar choices, I'm going to look for something that's got really nice new aggressive knurling if I can find it, because keeping your grip during reverse grip work is really important. So next thing we're going to talk about is going to be where you set up when you are doing reverse grip, because it's going to be slightly different generally than where you set up if you're doing a regular competition style bench press or bench press variant. So what's important to me when I set up is going to be setting up further up the bench. I lie down on the bench. In order to perform this movement, I need to be setting up further up the bench. So let me go ahead and demonstrate this. I am going to lie back, and if I would normally be setting up with my eyes directly under the bar for like a normal competition style bench, when I'm doing reverse grip, I need to go ahead and scoot myself back. So I'm feeling like I'm a good at least 2 to 3 inches further back on the bench than I would normally be. This is going to allow for the slightly different trajectory with the bar path during the movement. So that's another thing when you're lying down to do your reverse grip work. Make sure you're checking in with yourself to get far enough back on the bench. All right, so the next thing that you're going to of course do is work with your setup, getting your shoulders nice and depressed and retracted underneath you, just like you normally would with your bench work, okay? People ask, okay, where should I put my hands on the bar? I've experimented with this. When I started with it, I was a little narrower than I tend to like to go now. And in general, people do advocate taking a wider grip on the bar. So this is going to be very, very dependent on individual leverages, mobility within the wrist, elbow. So you're going to want to play around with it a little bit, but as a rule, I would say you want to try to set up so your grip might be slightly wider than your normal competition style bench grip, but definitely experiment. This is one, to be honest, I'm still experimenting with. I find if I set up with a grip that's really wide, sometimes that can start to affect what's happening with my hands in relation to holding on to the bar. If I'm too narrow, it torques out my wrists a lot. So, just give yourself some, time to experiment. Have some patience with this. That's really going to be something I'm going to pound home over and over again. You need to have patience with this lift. So something that you're going to want to do when you're setting your grip, I'm going to go ahead, get back kind of in a position here to do this. When you're setting your grip on the bar, what you really want to be careful about is getting it so that bar is sitting really nice and deep into the fleshy heel part of your hand, okay? We want to feel like we've got your hand is creating like a flat bed for the bar to sit on. Before I unrack, I feel like people get really sloppy with holding on to their grip for their unrack. They say squeeze the bar. You want to do that, because when I unrack, if I screw up at all with reverse grip, everything's gonna go to hell really fast. So I really lock my shoulder blades in. I take an extremely tight grip on the bar, and I unrack and take it out. And you are going to take it out. You're gonna feel like you're touching lower than you normally do when you're pressing in a normal way. So we're gonna do a few reps. I'm gonna come down, cueing myself to touch a little lower than I normally would, and then I will come back up. If you feel like you're going out for a heavy set and you just need a little bit of reinforcement, put chalk on your hands. It's really gonna help here. So when I go ahead and do reverse grip, one of the things I focus on the most is actually control during lockout. That doesn't mean I slow it down, but it means I try for having as little excess motion in any way I don't want to have happening when the bar is actually going through lockout. People will often choose to use reverse grip when they have like nagging shoulder issues. That was one of the reasons that I started to use it. Is I have some sort of posterior shoulder issue, and if I bench reverse grip, it doesn't aggravate it. So a lot of people do find that it relieves certain ways in which the shoulder gets banged up. It allows you to train in a way with pressing that's actually very, very close to a normal competition style lift. Therefore, it has a lot of carryover to your normal competition style lift, but it's just going to keep you a little bit healthier to be training that much of a variation. So that's actually, important in terms. I get the question a lot. Well, what does this do for your normal bench press? And so what I will tell you, this is just personal experience. This lift, I actually have pretty similar numbers on reverse grip at this point to what I might work with on a competition style bench press. So in my opinion and in my experience, this transfers over really, really well to a competition style bench. I will train for weeks on end using reverse grip to not at all do any kind of just normal competition style grip bench, and then I'll switch over to it and it will feel, my competition style grip will feel really strong. I will say that this isn't the saving grace thing for everybody who has a shoulder issue. I have had people say I have shoulder issues. I tried reverse grip and then it made it really flare up. So this is going to be an individual thing. If you have a shoulder issue, this might not be okay for you. So you can try something else. But for a lot of people with this movement, it's going to be a good way to avoid certain issues that the bench really kind of makes problematic with shoulder use. It's going to feel a little bit scary in your hands, I think is the bottom line. A lot of people are like, this is uncomfortable. But if you're not comfortable, set up face savers, get somebody to hand off for you, get somebody to spot for you, and give this a shot, because it's been an amazing saving grace in my bench training. It has made my triceps stronger, and people just tend to stare at you and be like, what are you doing? You're super weird, and I enjoy that. So that's about it. Thanks for watching.